How you doing, YouTube subscribers? How you doing? This is Harper, ADOS guy. Yes, I am. This is Harper Community First. Let me reckon with you guys again. First thing I want to touch bases on is the pain. The pain that we have to suffer in our community. The pain we have to suffer as American DOS. Reflecting and living. I mean, a lot of people have not talked about it, and Tone Talks brought it up, about us having bachelor's degrees and associate degrees and some masters driving for Uber on the side just to pay for our course of living and try to keep up with the society that has basically generational wealth, and others have loans and access to capital and build constituency of business in the community. This is our everyday walk. This is our life. And I want people to know that who are opposed to us and our reparations that are us, some of the boomers that are saying we've done this before and I'm tired now, and just kind of like don't understand where we at right now in a real fight on a different level. You need to take an account for what's going on. Some of our people are actually dying under this circumstance, under this denial and neglect. You got stress, you got from this, you get PTSD, all kind of emotional issues. You giving up on life. You are basically surrounding yourself with thug mentalities where you're giving up on life because you've been one-upped or somebody's denied you. You have no access to no real wealth anchor as a slave descendant like your bottom feeder. Nobody cares about you. People are actually like crabs in a bucket in this space where they're fighting each other. There's no restitution. There's no refuge. We don't have a sanctuary city. We can't have our organizations that we parrot to self-promote and self-educate or, grow into. We have other groups that are doing it under the term minority, black and brown alliances and correlation. There's no strategic zero in to us and our needs. There's no scope on the value of who we are, as though we're not even valued. Outside, we see it, we come in contact with it. And I did some work for Uber. So this is how I know, Uber and Lyft. Outside of my little home office, I got out and I see that it hurts when you're out there picking up people and you're getting paid a little bit of money, and you start to really see the enclaves of how people have pulled themselves out of poverty. And it's thousands and thousands and big homes of people that have been able to exercise the rights that we put into effect as though we're bottom feeders. They have access, and they've been getting businesses, the Mexican construction sites, and these people living in big homes now. And they're basically not caring about whatever happened to us. So for me to say that, I want to tell our older people who are the boomers, the baby boomers, y'all need to understand that our generation is dying from this. Your time is basically saying, well, I got 20 more good years here. I'm an elder. You have come into the science that it's time to relax. Well, Dr. Claude Anderson not doing that because he understands what's happening. This is a economic genocide, and it's a genocide. It's something real serious. And then I had one baby boomer to tell me to choose your battles, or it's going to be a war and stuff. Things are going to get worse. It's already like that. And what do you mean choose your battle? The battle has already been chosen for me. If I have been denied my willful rights, the law has not been upheld in terms of my reckoning in my community. So that leaves me in bottom feeder status. That leaves me to die. I don't care if you see me with a nice house. I struggle hard to keep what I have in a space where I can see that it's unfortunate for me to have to put in all that labor just to have what I do have. And I want to pay more attention to my social science divine purpose, my community, like I'm doing here. But when I'm working to make ends meet and to make my home beautiful or whatever I'm doing personally, it gets in the way of me doing the inventory on this as a and the advocacy as a proxy for my community and what we need to do, which is more important than anything in this world. This is our very life. And people don't understand, like Yvette Cornell said, political science is your life. That is your life. I've done the homework on that. I researched it. I've studied it. And I'm still studying it. Political science, social science, and communications. And what you need to understand, this is not, to me, not a job. This is the passion of where I'm supposed to be. I just have to learn more and how to balance that out. I'm not arrogant. I'm humble. You have to be in humility in order to grow. So, but I want to make mention that the pain that we suffer. Let me give you an example, a good example. I was in the gym working out, and a young man walked up to me, working out with me. I see him peering there. White guy, I'm friendly with all people, but I'm black first. So, my talking points, aim to politics and communications, and these are the things that he come to see that I have a real interest, and I pay attention. So I'm right now. This is what we need to do anyway, and everybody else does it because they feel important in politics, except for the descendants of slavery, or us. And so other groups don't even know our politics. Only thing they know is that they can advance from being us. And they can do this. So I talk politics. And so he understood that, I had a real passion for this. So he can hear about talking points. And we was receptive to each other, a white guy. And he popped a question on me. He said, "Do you think we need to be more compassionate?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" He said, "Do you think white people need to be more compassionate?" And I responded, I said, compassion is a word. Compassion, I don't think you know what that would mean in terms of what we're talking about. Compassion is a friendly attribute that you would do in friendship. I said, but compassion is not a word that I would use in terms of my political rights and things like that. I said, what I think not only white people, because he asked, does white people need to be compassionate? I said not only white people, but politicians, and predominantly white, need to abide by the law. They need to uphold the law. We don't need compassion. This is business. You don't go around in business wanting people to be compassionate. That's not how business operate. You need to uphold the law. In terms of politicians, that's what we need. The law states who we should be and what we should have. I have an inheritance, this will to me as a people, so that I can access the very place that I live in. Without that, I'm in bottom feeder status, and I die as a race in terms of importance, social and physically, if it's not corrected. So this is alarming and very important. It's imperative, very important, more important than anything in the world. This is my life that you're dealing with. So I said, this is an equal playing field to be on. This is not people looking at you and needing to be in compassion. Now, you need to be in compassion, or you want to be in compassion. You come around Black History Month and you go to programs and you help them serve food, or you go to the functions, or you can exercise a compassion attribute in terms of friendship and bypassing people from other agendas if you want to do that. But compassion is not needed in terms of business. I'm already considered to be important and written up in the Constitution as a protected class. I already have an inheritance. I already have something that I'm willed to. There has already been an anchor of history in terms of who I am in this country. I'm important, not to be looked upon as somebody being compassionate. And so I thought about it, and he, said, wow, man, you know a lot about this. And, he was saying, maybe I see you on CNN. And, he was talking like that to me. And I was looking into the thing, and I thought about it, and he wanted to know what made me come into that frame of mindset. I said, well, basically, you need to understand that I'm not black folk who don't do business. that just want somebody to be compassionate for them. I know the difference from compassion and equal opportunity. It has nothing to do with anything. And the ancestors in this country who fought for me has been an important people. And I want politicians to look at we need politicians basically to look at the due diligence. They need to look at the inventory and correct the inventory and rectify. That's what they need to do. Look at the inventory and rectify to my inheritance and to who I am politically, so that I can have access to the ability to survive in this society. So that's the real truth. And because he could ask me that, it's because he comes from a place where he's anchored in wealth as a white person. He's anchored in wealth, and he's parroting also talking points of people who have raised him in his community as constituents that has practiced a iota against who we are. And we are the ones who have been victims of their prisons of war, the prisons of war in our society. So we're the only ones. So we don't have a history of hurting them or doing anything to them. So the iota that has been practiced against us in terms of them as a community is to just keep them from reflecting in their own disappointments, as they have no moral compass, as their ancestors had no moral compass in terms of a people and a system of greed and wealth throughout using my people as an apparatus to design this beautiful, successful engine, America, the United States. And I'm speaking specifically about the United States because this is where I exist. I cannot take care of anything else until I take care of me first. You cannot love anybody else until you love you first. That's orderly. That's orderly. You can't go beyond or behind that. You have to understand this. We have to understand this. The talking points we parrot are not everybody talking points. The America that exists for you does not exist the same way for everybody else. That's what our problem is. We don't understand that. So they're able to do this, and the reason he was able to ask me that question, project that question on me, do you think white folks need to be more compassionate, is because he is looking at me from a space where basically I'm a person of servitude or bottom feeder class, because he knows something has happened. So why would you need to be compassionate unless you know something has happened? What has happened? Yes, something did happen. My ancestors, I came from, basically, he came from, his ancestors were slave traders. My ancestors were slaves. So he looking at it from that standpoint. And you can exercise that question over me, which is mildly offensive, but I rectify, and I'm able to reckon with you and correct that, because of my talking points of what I learned. Knowledge is power. Some people don't know any better. So subconsciously, a lot of people are in that space, and they have an iota against the people who've been affected and the people who built this country and the moral compass of it too. So I just wanted to come and let you know that we don't need necessarily a compassionate tone, because that turns into the benign and neglect. What we need is rectifications. You need to rectify me in terms of how I truly exist. And that means I am the backbone of your wealth. I did work, and my man's supposed to be paid for his wages and wheeled into whatever that is promised to him throughout his generation. That's the same thing happened for you, which the money, that blood sacrifice of my ancestor has been passed down and wheeled through your generation, supposed to also be in mine's. And the books have not been done properly. They've been approached. They need to be rectifications. And that's doing business. The rule of law. And if anybody know about the rule of law, it's white folks. When they started removing illegals, which was not hurting us, it shouldn't have, they was constantly using talking points. This their talking point, the rule of law. So in terms of us and our reparations, guys, hold up the rule of law. That's the law. Somebody got something, you give it to them. You don't keep it away from them and start a war. You give people what they need and rectify. Now the study is open. Study it and study it fast. Cut the check.